so it's your fault that, well, Brent's fault as well.
It is.
It's 1 o'clock
Yeah,
now.
so what are you planning to do today? Because I am like my answer.
Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Mark from Northwest Bourbon. Thank you for joining for another great episode of Distiller's Perspective. I am really excited to welcome Vince from Horse Soldier back on to the show. Vince, thank you so much for agreeing to do a part 2 of the Horse Soldier Distiller's Perspective. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing good. You know, it's a somber day. Of course, today being 9/11. Day of definitely of reflection. I got my little piece of ground zero steel that we had laser or water cut into our SF wings. Very important to me.
Oh wow!
The symbology.
Wait, hold on. I'll solo you. Can you hold that up again? Oh, that is awesome.
Piece of I-beam from the ground zero steel, and given to us by the current managers of the World Trade Center. Great guys, veterans. I think both of them are veterans, so easy rapport between us, and the understanding, of course, between veterans that you don't get with civilians as much, right?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, as you're saying, it's 9/11. It is Patriot Day, as they've called it, a day of remembrance. And I couldn't have a better, a dream guest to have on the show than to have you back on, because the first time we had you on, you started telling us your story of you and your team 595 out doing some training on the river on September 11th, and then finding out about the situation happening. And you told us about getting briefed up, going to as your team going and trying to get the mission, and how painful it was saying goodbye to your family multiple times because of all the back and forth going on with sending people over there. And I wanted to ask if you would pick up on that story, because if you guys look in the description of the video, you can see the link to the first interview that we had with Vince, where he talked about the events of September 11th all the way up until they landed in Afghanistan, got on horseback with the local warlords, and made it to the Alamo. And so I was going to ask you, Vince, if you could pick up from there. That way, if anybody out there has seen it already, because they were there for the first interview, and you wouldn't have to repeat yourself again, sir. So the description is if you want to hear that first part of the interview. And before we get into that, are you drinking with us tonight, Vince?
I'm drinking.
Oh, awesome. What are we drinking?
I've got our newest batch of our barrel strength. So this one is a 127.2.
Oh, nice.
So it's a newer batch. It is very the older batch, the 124.6. is a little more earthy, right? It's a lot of barrel, a lot of oakiness in that one.
Yeah.
Whereas this one is a much more fruity sweetness to it. And my favorite of the barrel strengths so far, along with the original 124.6 came out, I think, in 2020, and that was a very good batch as well.
I have 121.1.
Okay, that's another good one. For me, that one's got a lot of butterscotch on the nose. That's a sweet one as well.
And what did you said it was 127 point what that you were having right now?
127.2.
127.2 is the, can I find that one on Fort Lewis right now?
You might be able to. So that's the newest one in the Southern Glacier Warehouse in Puyallup, Washington there.
Oh, so they have some.
So they have some. So that's out in the local economy, but also the Vancouver. So folks who are down by Vancouver and Oregon, Northern Oregon, the Vancouver Troop Store has the 127.2 because they order all their stuff from Southern because they don't carry that as a regular expression. But right. They sell more Horse Soldier barrel strength than any other of the three.
And And we'll get into other variants that you have out right now, and especially talking about the 10-unit single barrels. So later on, we're gonna spend a good amount of time talking with the audience and bringing guests on screen and stuff like that. But I wanted to give you the opportunity, and especially since it is Patriot Day, 9/11. I'm eager to hear the rest of the story, Sarah. So whenever you're ready.
All right. So
wait, but cheers. Thank you for being here. Sorry.
So I'm going to start at morning of October 20th. We got in country about 2 o'clock into our first safe house called the Alamo, and waited out the night. I was way too excited to sleep, to be honest. So not much sleep was had that night. My biggest thing was getting up, setting up a radio system and getting out our initial sit trip that we were on the ground, 100% men, women, or men, weapons, and equipment. And so about 7 o'clock that morning, we got word that Dostum's en route from his command post at the front lines, where he had been fighting. About 20 minutes before he showed up, about 25 horsemen came through. They went past us to what their 12 o'clock position was, right? Pulling security on the far end. And he had flankers out, 25 men on each side, basically to form the 360 perimeter.
Right.
And Dostum pulls up about 20 minutes later, ahead of about 50 horse. He's on his big white steed, his stallion, and looking very much a warlord. He's a bigger guy. He's a big, robust guy, very gregarious, very Tony Soprano-esque. It takes a personality to be a warlord, and you don't get there by being appointed. You get there by force of character, personality, and much luck. And kind
of like the alpha male of a wolf pack or something.
Exactly. And he's got a very interesting story. If you ever read a book called The Last Warlord by Brian Glenn Williams, it's a very good book on the horse soldier story from the warlord's perspective.
The Last Warlord.
The Last Warlord, yeah. It's a very interesting book. Very well written by a history professor there in Massachusetts. And so we're lined up. We all went outside the gate there, lined up, ready to meet Dostum. He pulled up, got off the horse, and I remember he shook all of our hands, patted us on the back, looked us in the eye, welcoming us to Afghanistan. First thing he said was he apologized that Afghanistan had been used as a base of operations for Al-Qaeda and to plan the attacks on 9/11, of course. Mm-hmm. He survived the first attack on 9/9, which was to kill him and a guy named Shah Massoud. Dostum actually survived that assassination attempt. And
so they planned on taking out him and seeing him as like a big rival right before they conducted the attack here.
Right. So Shah Massoud and Dostum were supposed to be taken out on 9/9. That would take out the head of the Northern Alliance, the top two guys that had any kind of fighting resilience, right? They had never taken the Panjshir Valley, and that was in that pocket in the Hindu Kush. So that was Dostum's mountain hideout there, northern Afghanistan. Horses kept him on the move. It gave him that maneuver space, and then the mountains, of course, gave him that defendable terrain that you must have for an insurgency campaign, right? Mm-hmm. And so we went into the compound. He broke out some bread. We broke bread, very symbolic, right? In many cultures, welcoming us, and he took responsibility for our security. He was very worried about us. Us even getting a scratch on us, he thought we would pull out, right? We called that the Mogadishu effect. that was still very alive back then.
Yeah.
And but it was 12 of us. He didn't really know what to make of us. We had our 6 agency guys as well, And but they have their mission focus is other things, defense of the homeland. So our thing was to wage war, pose with, and destroy the enemy, right? So he laid out a map basically outlining where he was, the situation where he was. She had about 750 men at that point. And where the Taliban were, they had about 5,000 guys.
Wait, so the warlord that you were just talking about and they're setting up perimeter around you, they had 750 guys?
Yeah, 750 to 1,000 was the estimate. That fluctuates depending on that. His perimeter was a very it moved quite a bit, getting bigger and smaller depending on efforts by the Taliban to get to him, right?
Okay.
And but it was the mountains. Every time the Taliban would try to get into the mountains, the horses would just outmaneuver them and just and ambush them. So he was very successful at defending that terrain.
Yeah.
And riding out, doing ambushes against the Taliban, and then riding back into the Hindu Kush Mountains there. And he did it very well. He was very aggressive, very tactical at that point compared to some of the other warlords. The Uzbeks are, I call them our redneck brothers from another mother, because they're very secular. They're pro-Western. They like to shoot their guns. They like to ride their horses fast, and they like to drink vodka. So everything that we like to do, except I'd rather have scotch or whiskey or scotch or bourbon versus vodka. But
yeah, oh, definitely. One thing that pops in my head, thinking about you guys being 595 Green Berets, some of the best trained that you could ask for. Physically and mentally, you guys are, top tier. And you get in there like, don't worry about security. We'll pull security around you. There's part of me, the warrior in me, that says, no, I want to have at least one of my guys on security so I know what's going on with the security.
Yes. So we were always, there was never a moment that we were not pulling our own security.
Okay.
And as you broke down into teams of 3s and 2s, that got very hard. We did not sleep much for the first 3 weeks, just cat naps here and there. Yeah. I went from just over 200 pounds down to 175, just from operating. Your brain is constantly on, right? The war's there. You got to have that situational awareness, especially at night. You're sharing your food. That first day, I pulled out my first MRE, and I had 25 new best friends in Afghans. Just big brown puppy dog eyes. You can't really say no. You can't be the ugly American. Yeah. That's how you make yourself human to them. We had no body armor. We had no helmets. We had our M4s and our M9, so we had nothing really that they didn't have. And but we had radios. We had a plan as far as for the first few days. So that first morning, October 20th, after he got done briefing us on what the situation was, he said, "Hey, I got 6 horses, and I'm taking off in 5 minutes." And he was testing us, right? So we had already planned to go into 2 6-man teams at that point. So there's A cell and B cell for every ODA, because an A team is redundant with 2 MOSs of each, right? Yeah. And so I was part of A cell with Mark Nooch, who was the captain, and then we had our intel as the assistant team sergeant. So we that covered, and then we had a medic, myself, a weapons guy, and an engineer. Okay, so medic, weapons, intel, engineer, and commo. I was one of the commo guys. And commo. And then you had the captain, who was the team leader, and the warrant officer he's the assistant detachment commander. So he's the Bravo cell commander. Okay, so all of you that are non-military, when he talks about the redundancy between Alpha Team and Bravo Team in their team of 12, that's what he was referring to, is those 5 jobs. That's their MOS. Those jobs being duplicates in the 2 teams within the team, right? Correct. All right, I was just trying to break it down. And then we cross-train as well. the two hardest skills to cross training are commo and medic, of course. And we all got to be ready to treat traumatic wounds, right? Battlefield wounds.
Right.
So that we can split down into teams of 2s or teams of 3s if necessary, which happened later on. So the first day, two teams of 6s. We went forward. The Bravo cells stayed behind to set up a logistics base, getting in air supplies, and also setting up a field hospital to help raise the morale of some of the fighting troops. Having Green Beret medics who are very, very well trained, right? There gave them some comfort that someone would be, some skilled hands would be available to help them with their wounds. So,
that's definitely a morale booster. Like if something happens to me, somebody can actually help me. That's amazing.
Amen. Yes. So that's always in the back of your mind, right? And so we went out. It was asses and elbows just to reconfigure our gear real quick. I found a horse. I named him Rusty. He was after the Seinfeld horse, paying homage to New York and Seinfeld. But
are you serious?
He was rusty, awesome. He was rusty in color. And if you look at the jacket of our book called Swords of Lightning, I'm on the far left-hand side on my horse, Rusty. But the horses are a big part of our success, but a big pain in the ass as well, literally at some points. But they're all stallions. They're unshod. I never saw a single mare, so I know they're pretty hard up and frustrated. They love to fight. They like to bite people and other horses. And so
really,
they're all like just A-type jerk horses, like teenage kids, right? So Rusty tried to buck me off. Our first ride was 4 hours. I believe he tried to buck me off twice. I was super heavy with. At that point, we were a full combat load. So 13 magazines and our extra batteries, our radios and all that stuff, right? So and medical gears, right? Shoot, move, communicate, medicate.
Yep.
And we had to pare that down over the first few days because we were just way too heavy for these poor horses. These mountain horses are not as big as horses we have over here.
And did you have all that in like a carrier vest or like a backpack, like an assault bag, or where did you have all your ammo and equipment? Because you said you didn't have plates on, right?
Right. I wore a modified bra. Is what I wear, and then a battle belt so that we could. I was prepared to take off gear if necessary, right? And still be able to do what you got to do, right? So we all had our own gear, but it was set up to SOP. We have a team SOP for, things got to be in a certain spot. So if you come across your buddy, you know exactly where his medical pouch is, all that stuff, right? So stuff that we've trained for many years. I was on that team since '96, so I deployed quite often with these guys all over the Middle East and Africa, training other host nations. But we had a pretty good SOP. Unconventional warfare is just pretty much the same as foreign internal defense, except you're doing it with an insurgent element versus a standing army. And
gotcha.
So the Northern Alliance were an insurgency in northern Afghanistan against the standing government, which was the Taliban and their partnership with Al Qaeda, right? So we set off for our horseback ride. I remember coming up to the front lines. It was kind of a surreal experience. It was like going back in time. Trenches were dug, shooting back and forth, bunkers. The Taliban had built these massive bunker systems. The far side of the gorge that marked the 4 line of troops, right? Yeah. The far side of that, the Taliban had vehicles, so it was a little flatter terrain. It was like a plateau. And they're all covered in mud. But you can see them easy as day. They're fat, dumb, and happy, hanging outside their bunkers and sunning themselves and praying and whatnot, right? So Dostum basically laid out, hey, who's who, all that over there is enemy. And we all got to work coming up with our 9-line reports. 9 lines, it's your targeting report, right? That you transmit to the aircraft and ensure that he's seeing what you're seeing, and you give him a clear, and then he's clear to drop bombs. Once you are comfortable with where he's aiming at, right? And so got down to it. I immediately called the AWACS plane. This was about 2 p.m. on October 20th. Called AWACS. Their call sign was Kmart. And I said, "Hey, Kmart, Tiger 02 here. We got targets. Send aircraft when available." And they were super excited to hear that, because they had been bombing. So they're nothing against the Air Force, Marine aviators, or Navy aviators, or the Brits, but they were bombing based on imagery, based on analysts telling them where to bomb.
Yeah,
they're flying at 30,000 feet. It's hard to see detail on the ground from that height, right? So we found this out later through BDA. Some of these pilots were bombing. They were bombing dirt, and even Dostum told us, "Hey guys, your airplanes come overhead. We can hear them. They bomb, but it's always miles away."
Yeah, way off target.
So, but they were, like I said, they were bombing based on imagery, not boots on the ground. And boots on the ground makes a huge difference.
Huge, yeah.
Because you got eyes on, right? So, and we can have very accurate 10-digit grid coordinates to pass through these 9 lines to the aircraft and be able to describe a target. So, it started pushing this aircraft to our initial point, and they checked in. Gave us a quick briefing on their station time and their ordnance, and we put them to work. And that lasted for 12 hours. We had aircraft for 12 hours to 2 o'clock in the morning. We were done mentally, physically.
Yeah.
We had to go into a rest mode, a rest rotation at that point, and get some food in us. But I remember the first bombs were a little off target because they were JDAMs. JDAMs are GPS guided bombs. So they're a lot more sensitive to elevation on the Earth. So if the target elevation is 4,000 feet and you think it's 5,000 feet, the bomb's going to be a little bit off, right?
Yeah.
Because they're different heights of the Earth. So, but the first few bombs were just a few hundred meters off, but Dostum was ecstatic. He was doing cheetah flips, and he was beside himself, talking on the radio. Immediately got on the radio and said, "Hey," a lot of flowery language, which I won't say here, but hey.
Well, and just so people are tracking, JDAMs are like 2,000 pounds, right?
Yeah, so they have 500 pounds and 2,000 pounds.
Okay.
But a bomb is 50-50. So 500-pound bomb is 250 pounds of explosive, 250 pounds of bomb.
Right.
And 250 pounds of explosive is
that's a lot.
It's a lot. I've set off 20-pound charges before at the demo range, and those were insane. So 250 pounds is a big explosion, right? And especially if you have it on the right fusing, proximity fuse, delayed fuse, or impact fuse.
Right. For those of you in the audience relating the 500-pound bomb, a stick of dynamite is 1 pound. A block of C4 is 1.25 pounds. So think about making 500 pounds of C4 when one block of C4 is 1.25 pounds. It's a significant amount of explosives.
Huge pressure wave coming off that, especially on the proximity fuses. So he was immediately on the radio. So he has his walkie-talkie. They're all off-the-shelf Chinese ICOM or Yaesu radios, but the Taliban had the same radios because they all shop at the same store, I guess. And they had it set up so the different channels for different. So Dostum could just put it on the Taliban channel and talk to them and listen to them, right? And he was a master of psychological warfare, and immediately told them that he has his new best friends, the Americans, there, and went into detail about how screwed they are, because those first few bombs were just the start. And so our next rounds were spot on, hitting bunkers, hitting trench lines. The first few days were F-15s and F-16s and FA-18s. So I think we had 8 JDAMs per sortie. It's a long time. a long time ago. So they would check in, go Winchester, which means they were out of ammo, and then the other flight would check in, and we did that that whole for 12 hours straight, and we had quite an impact on the battlefield. I remember later on that evening, the Taliban figured, hey, these guys are targeting the bunkers, so if we're not in the bunkers, we're safe, right? So they all piled out of this one gigantic command bunker and out to the field. There's about probably 150 of them.
Wait, just out in the open?
Out in the open, and it's late October. The grass is brown. Thinking like Eastern Washington, right? High desert. Yeah. They're all wearing very dark kit. They're wearing their black man dresses, and they're all gathered out there. I could see a guy talking to them, probably giving them motivation, maybe an imam. But we changed the targets. Troops in the open, which means JDAMs on proximity fuse.
Yeah.
And so that goes off right over their heads by a few feet. And just a pressure wave alone is extremely devastating to human flesh. So they're very effective, especially the psychological terror that these guys were now, because there's no hiding from us.
Right. If they're used to anything coming in before, then it's coming in off of imagery. So squares on a map, which I'm like putting pieces together as you're talking about this. So they're thinking, get away from the bunker, which is their shelter and protection, because that can be seen on a map.
Well,
like they didn't know you guys were there, right?
Well, they knew that. Well, Dostum kind of spilled the beans on that. The first sortie. He told them, hey, I got my new best friends here, the Americans. And so we had wished he would have kept that quiet. But he wanted to use that as a psychological tool against him.
That's true. That's true. Because he doesn't know how many.
Right. Yeah. In the end, it worked out all right. At the time, we were, it gained us a lot of attention by the Taliban. It pushed, Al-Qaeda pushed their 055 brigade up there. With a guy named John Walker Lynn that we caught later on, the American Al-Qaeda, right? So everybody wanted to go against the Americans, capture Americans, and kill Americans, right? Because that's a big prize. Yeah. Killing Afghans, I guess, had become boring to them, so they wanted to kill a bigger prize.
They've been doing that for hundreds of years.
Bigger game. So, but yeah, so we got a lot of a focus with so D-30 artillery, BM-21s, the rocket launchers, RPGs. We always stayed 1,000 meters away at least. RPGs self-detonate at 950, I believe, or 900. I can't remember now. 950. So you'll see them going off right, air bursting because they self-detonate. So we stayed outside of that effective range of RPGs and PKM fire, and conducted our business. Pretty easy to see them. It's far, it's like high desert, like I said, so wide open spaces. You can see very far, so no need to sneak up on them. You ever seen the movie 12 Strong? Very chaotic and not how we operate on the battlefield. Real life is a little more boring, but the first few days of any of those, your combat is going to be learning how your enemy reacts to contact. Mm-hmm. And then you can start formulating a plan. You want to shape the battlefield, put them at their weakness, exploit their weaknesses, and come up with a plan to carry that through. And so it took 10 days, end of October. We realized we needed the other forces in play. In between that, we had kicked day 4. We had kicked 3 of our guys. So Alpha Cell broke down into 2 3-man teams. Myself, Mark, and one of the engineers stayed at the head, hitting the Taliban there. We sent 3 guys 25 kilometers west, overwatching the Taliban logistics areas. So what we learned is, as we hit the front lines, the Taliban would just reinforce logistically with men and extra ammo. So we could take ground, but it was hard to hold it because the Taliban reinforced, right? So these guys, their job was to hit the reinforcements, hit the logistics bases. And once we did that, we rolled up easily 15 kilometers of front line, which had been static for many years in that area, and brought in the other 6 guys. And that enabled us to go to 4 elements. And then we had 2 Air Force guys brought in, a TAC P and an STS guy, Special Tactics Squadrons guy.
Oh, wow.
And 2 young E6s. We put those guys to work. They brought in radio systems. And that allowed us to go to 5 elements. So we had 4 3-man elements. So you split those 2 Air Force guys, put them with our most senior guys. And then the 5th element was myself and Mark Newts, the captain.
Okay.
And,
So your original team of 12 went to 4 3-man teams. Then you took the Air Force guys and hooked them up with the 2 more senior groups.
Yeah. So those 4 3-man teams consisted of SF and 2 Air Force guys.
Okay.
So 2 of those, like our team sergeant took one of the Air Force guys, and then the other guy went with 2 of our other senior E7s, I believe, a weapons guy and an engineer, the senior engineer. So they were in good hands.
Yeah.
That allowed us, like I said, that allowed us to control 4 different sorties at the exact same time. And it was kind of messy in the air, but that's the AWACS job, is to keep these guys separated. And they all had different call signs, different frequencies we used between them. So, but those 4 elements had 4 different sectors that they covered down on. And that morning, so this is late October, early November, setting up this plan. In the meantime, we're just holding the line, continue to shape that battlefield. November 5th, the morning of, we had MC-130s, the big FSOC, so Air Force Special Operations Command, MC-130 aircraft. They came in and dropped 2 Daisy Cutter bombs. Very heavy ordnance. They come out on a parachute. They float down and they go off right above the ground. But it's a very large explosion with a very big mushroom cloud. Something you cannot miss. So that was a signal that we came up with the Hazaras and the Tajiks. So we had 3 tribes: the Uzbeks that we were with,
right,
and the Hazaras, who are more Asian featured. They trace their lineage back to Genghis Khan, and then we have the Tajiks, who are more they're more Turkish featured, I guess, more like Iranians. They're a Persian ethnicity, but they're Sunni Muslim versus Shia Muslims.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So different tribes, different ethnicities, all loyal to each other, not really loyal to Afghanistan. The Tajiks are not very Western friendly,
right?
But they wanted their own A team as well. So we brought in ODA 534, and they went out to the bombing area with those guys. They were all truck mounted in that area, but they had a much different experience than we did. They came in early November, basically got trucked up to Mazar Sharif. And so between November 5th and November 9th, we rolled up about 60 kilometers of terrain. And
wow.
It was the horses that kept us in contact with the Taliban. As an army or a fighting force, you don't want to lose contact with the enemy, right?
Right.
And because bad things happen when you do. So the horses allowed us to take shortcuts, get above, around the Taliban, because they were much more restricted by terrain, being vehicle mounted, motorized, and foot mounted. So the horses were a huge part of our success maintaining that contact. And we had some funny moments. I remember the morning of November 5th, Mark and myself were with Dostum, and we were visiting one of the sub-commanders, a guy named General Lal. And he was going against this gigantic bunker system in a village called Boybiche. And so we had Dostum come down. We had some F-14 Tomcats coming in, and F-14s carrying laser-guided bombs.
Yeah.
And so we had this laser target designator. It's called a soft lam. And we had that set up, ready to go. And we invited Dostum to come down, look through the sights of this laser designator, and we had him adjusted to the bunker or the target that he wanted to destroy. And so he's all giddy about being involved in this. We set it up, we locked it in for him, and we're talking, our other common guy, Will Summers, talking to the aircraft in the sky, getting them lined up right. And we had Dostum push the little red button, which shoots the laser. Laser goes about 4,000 meters, very powerful. You can't see it with your eyes, but the bomb side can see it. Bombs were dropped. 60 seconds later, as Dostum is just like in wonder, looking at the target, looking at his hand on the button and the machine vibrating, the bunker just explodes. And Dostum is super, super excited. He's on the radio immediately talking crap. And he told the Taliban that he has a new toy, and he named it the Death Ray. So he thought this laser target designator actually destroyed the bunker, but it was four laser guided bombs that did that work on delayed fuse. And he was relaying this to the Taliban over the walkie-talkie, and it was pretty funny. We let him believe that. We didn't tell him different. We wanted the Taliban to believe that we actually have death rays.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah, exactly. That's just the kind of like childlike wonder some of these fighters have. They're super fierce, but they're their education. They had zero education. Most can't read or write. Dostum was one of the few guys that could read and write. But he's very smart about how to use words to be effective as a leader and as an enemy, right? And so by November 9th, we were the morning of, 9 of us linked up together at a river just south of Mazar Sharif. And that was the first time that none of us had been together since October 20th.
I was gonna say there we go. I got this mug when I was in Mazar Sharif. At a base that I think it was the Germans that had a base that they had a little gift shop.
Oh yeah,
and I got a Mazar Sharif mug there.
So that was the morning of November 10th. That was the Marine Corps birthday. We went through the Gap. It's called the Gap, just south of Mazar Sharif. Yeah, very big train feature. That's where the Taliban put up their last defenses with Al Qaeda. Yeah, shot 42 rockets at us. They landed all around us, between us, but none of us got a scratch on us.
Awesome.
Dostum actually thought we had force fields in our backpacks. So going back to his, they think we had this crazy technology. They just assumed that, right? Mm-hmm. But I'll never forget that morning of going through that gap and then hitting the southern suburbs of Mazar Sharif there, hitting asphalt and watching as these families came out of their compounds into the roadway and saw, 3,000 plus horses streaming into Mazar Sharif. And as they took over the radio stations, they were blasting that out. Lone Alliance is back in town, but these people were the first to see that, and they were, especially the women. As an American, it was very moving. Yeah, for me, very tangible. That moment, something I can think back to with a lot of pride. Having liberated that city of 500,000 people. Wow. That's a key city in Afghanistan because it's called the key to Afghanistan, right? Because it has the Blue Mosque with the Shrine of Ali. Yep. And in Afghan culture, whoever holds that shrine holds the key to Afghanistan. And so once that was captured by Dostum and Atta, General Atta, the Tajik commander, once that word got out to the other warlords, during Fahim Khan in the Panjshir Valley, and then a guy named Karzai and down by Kandahar, they knew the gig was up and they had to start moving on their cities as well. We found out later that the Tajik commander in the Panjshir Valley, Fahim Khan, he was actually hoping that Dostum would be killed in the fighting so that he could take over that vacuum created by that.
Right. There'd be room for him to take over. Yeah.
Right. So they were sitting back. They didn't think he'd be as successful. So our mission was doubted from day one from the National Command staff, who laughed at the concept of Green Berets and CIA guys going in and being any kind of an effective fighting force. And then even some of our own analysts or our intel officers thought our plan to split up early on was crazy. But for us, that's how we trained. That's how Special Forces is supposed to operate.
Yeah.
And it was expected that we winter over in that valley of Dehi. That's called the Dar Yasuf, and then prepare for a spring offensive. But once you figured out the first few days and saw how soft the Taliban, their defense, it was ridgeline to ridgeline, village to village, but they put up a fight, and then they did him out of there north, left a small force behind who were, I think that most of them were these old men from Pakistan and young kids from Pakistan that half of them didn't have weapons, but they were unfortunately cannon fodder for us, bomb fodder, and easy to roll through that. And so once you figured that out, it was a route, setting up kill boxes at the Air Force, turning off kill boxes as we move forward, giving permission to the Air Force or aviators to basically target anything that's moving in inside those kill boxes. It was super effective.
Right.
So it was never expected that we would take 3 weeks, and something that as Special Forces guys who believe in unconventional warfare, we knew it worked back in World War II and before, right? So proving that concept, that mission, right, was for us. We knew it was history making.
Yeah, big time. And I think, of course, looking back on it, hindsight wise, you guys taking your 12-man team, splitting it into 4 groups of 3 might have sounded crazy at the time, but in hindsight, it's like you had all this other support of the warlords that were with you. That gives you so much more area of command and control. It just seems like the smart thing to do now. But I can see how at the time before it happened, without that hindsight, it must have sounded pretty wild to say, I'm going to get there and split up my team immediately. It's like,
for us, for me, I was much younger. I was 35. You have that excitement, right? You're bulletproof. And especially after Afghanistan, we all felt we were bulletproof with how much we had been shot at, and none of us were hit right. And for us, the unknown is something very cool to operate in because you got to figure it out right. So
right.
Much more thinking man's game. Our mission statement was super easy. Our mission analysis super easy because there wasn't much known. And our mission was the 5 W's was basically infill, link up with Dostum, and help him take 3 things: Mazar Sharif, take an airfield, and take the bridge at Termez. And that was it.
Yeah.
And of course, there's a lot of implied tasks with that, but it's up to us to figure it out on the ground as we go. And I think that's what SF was made to do.
Yeah. Well, much kudos to you and your team. And one important part that you kind of hinted at, but didn't say it out bluntly. Out of the 12 of you guys that went there in that initial team, all 12 of you made it back, almost without a scratch on you. And with how many bad guys you guys took out, and how much ground you guys covered, and accomplished the mission with the multiple facets that goes into it and all that stuff, it's saying a lot. Huge salute to you and your team. I have to pour another shot to that, and I think I'm gonna pour a glass of the 250th to that because that's just amazing.
I think it gives testament to America's fortitude and what we'll do to protect our homeland and take vengeance, especially 9/11. First and foremost, this is October, right? Very just right after 9/11. So the imagery, right?
Right.
That we all saw. Once we left, we were in a blackout, but we all took that imagery. That filled us with a lot of motivation, right?
Yes. Yes. Motivation that you couldn't duplicate by other things, because you're like fighting for your country. Like you are really, you have your whole heart into it.
Yeah, and you cannot fail.
Ernest.
There is no failure in that. You have to operate 100%, and you can't make any mistakes because you're there acting on the behest or acting for the American people who expect. They pay a lot of money, a lot of taxpayer money to create a Green Beret and to sustain and get him trained up right. So you can't go over there and act a fool. We have to make sure that we accomplish the mission that we were set out to do.
Yeah.
And so first and foremost was vengeance for 9/11. And that was always first and foremost in our mind.
Yeah.
And the Northern Alliance were just a tool for us to do that. But I cannot tell you how happy and honored we were to be that first team on the ground conducting combat operations against the Taliban. And we knew that it was, years of building our team's reputation within group. We were all very senior guys, and I was very fortunate to be with 11 other just shit hot Americans, Patriots, who wanted to, we all fight for the guy left and right of us, right? Not for ourselves. Absolutely. And I don't want to let them down, and they don't want to let me down. So that keeps you going, right? That sustains you when it comes time to operating.
Absolutely. Hey, cheers to you guys and to that story. Thank you for sharing with us, Vince. Oh my goodness, this 250 is good. So I sent out a bunch of samples of the 250th, and everybody I shared it with has just loved it so far. And speaking of, I am going to be sending out a flight which will include a sample of this 250th, along with some 10-year single barrels and some other stuff from me. Anybody in the audience that's out there that wants to jump on and ask Vince a question, I have put the link in the chat. You can jump on, ask a question. We're going to play the revolving wheel of names. I've got the wheel of names up. If you jump on, ask a question to Vince about himself, his military career, horse soldier, especially you want to keep it focused on horse soldier, then you're going to get thrown into the wheel of names for a raffle prize. Vince, before we went live, you told me that your YouTube channel is getting some upgrades. If everybody looks in the video description, you'll see their Instagram, their website, so you can check out more about horse soldier. But if a moderator will put a link in the chat to their YouTube channel, Vince, tell us about the upgrades you guys are getting to the YouTube channel.
Well, it used to be a lot more robust. It got deleted somehow, how YouTube is, and so we had to rebuild it, right? But right now we're focusing more and more on next July 4th, which is our grand opening for our distillery in Somerset. We're building our what we call our 100-year legacy there in Somerset, Kentucky. So we'll be the newest addition to the Bourbon Trail once we start filling barrels. The southern anchor or southern gateway, depending what direction you're coming from. Somerset's southeastern Kentucky, beautiful area of Kentucky, and that's we have 220 plus acres there, Horse Soldier Farms, that we will call our new home come July 4th. So we'll no longer have a Florida address, but we'll have a Kentucky address. And
220 acres.
Yeah, so that's the distillery. You also have a restaurant in town called the Urban Still House.
Yeah.
Beautiful space. It opened March of this year, I believe. And we have an experience center. We'll actually be selling our private barrels out of there as well. And
wait, you're gonna sell private barrels right out of your guys' facility in Kentucky?
Right. So you can sample the barrels. It'd be awesome if you could just buy the barrel, load it up, and take it home, right? But you gotta laws and all that stuff, rules. You can sample different barrels. Now this is a private barrel, not for retail sale. We have a retail sales barrel program as well, but private barrels is a weeded mash bill.
Okay.
And then once you pick a barrel, it gets bottled, labeled. It's a custom label, and then goes through the distributor to your address. And it's usually bought by charity organizations. I think the Marines have bought one. Some Marine units. I think the Second Ranger Battalion as well. So these barrels they can be custom made, and then you can sell it to if you're part of a bourbon club.
Yeah.
So easy things that make great gifts, right? Especially corporate gifts. It tend to go for bottles of bourbon. Just an easy and thoughtful and delicious gift, I think.
I think so too. I have never been sad about receiving a bottle of bourbon as a gift.
Right.
Absolutely not. So with those 220 acres, are you guys going to be distilling your own grains there?
Right. So some very meaningful parts of that distillery, right? So if you on our Instagram, there's some videos of it being under construction. We got the Vendome still is in there right now. And then they're putting the walls in around it. 4 million proof gallons per year is the capacity for that. So we'll make our own mash. We have our wheated mash bill and then our rye mash bill, right?
Okay.
We also hope to contract distill for other distilleries, especially newer veteran distilleries. We can help them out, get their feet started. Contract distilling is an easy way for to make your own mark versus sourcing, right?
Yes.
And we can help out with that. We actually have we actually have agreements with the Old Guard and other units to get retired military working horses. So as they retire, they can come live out their lives at our farms.
No, so you guys are gonna have like a legit horse farm there?
Yeah, we'll have retired horses from like the Arlington National Cemetery, the Quezon horses as they retire, versus going to auction.
Right.
And some of the other forts, a lot of forts still maintain their stables, right, with their horses.
Yeah.
And they're almost all, of course, ceremonial horses. But as they retire, they can come. Some of them can come live out their lives on our farms.
I love that, and one of the main reasons why I love that is because when it comes to soldiers dealing with PTS, like they've had some post-traumatic stress, and they're dealing with a lot of emotional issues. That's definitely a significant factor in our line of work. The only thing that's as almost as good as the first you think of a dog. Second is actually a horse when it comes to that therapeutic interaction with a beast, and an animal in nature. From what I understand, I don't have that much interaction with horses, even though my wife is an equestrian type. She goes to a horse farm twice a week to go help clean the barn and feed them and whatnot. I don't go with her to do that. That's her time to do her thing. But I'm here with my dogs, right? And so from what I understand, the second most therapeutic animal than a dog is a horse. And so having horses on site at your horse soldier distillery that's going to be coming open next year, that is awesome. I think it's super cool.
Horses are very in tune with what if you have internal trauma that you're struggling with, they sense that, right? And they therapy horses are a great way for soldiers with trauma to overcome that or to help cope with that, right?
Right.
But then So like our bottles, right? Our bottles are formed in molds made from a World Trade Center, right?
Right.
So something cool. And so at that same ceremony back in 2016, we were also gifted a piece of Statue of Liberty copper from the 1984 restoration. There's some excess copper slag from that and went to a warehouse, but the Port Authority gifted us a piece of that. So we have a piece of that right now that's going to be put into our spirits safe. So that's the box where all the spirits come through off the still, right? It's got the glass, so you can look in the spirit safe, right?
Off the still itself.
Right. So before it goes into the stainless steel vat to get barreled, it'll pass through that spirit safe, and that spirit safe will contain Statue of Liberty copper. So we'll have ground zero steel in our bottles, and then we'll have all our distillate. This is many years in the future once it's aged. But it'll pass through and touch Statue of Liberty copper.
I want to say that one more time for the people in the back. There still is going to have a piece of brass from the Statue of Liberty on it.
Copper.
So, what?
Copper. Statue of Liberty copper.
Oh, I said brass. Sorry. A piece of copper from the actual Statue of Liberty that was gifted to them from the Port Authority. So every drop of future distillate that's Horse Soldier's own distillate is going to flow through the original Statue of Liberty copper. Right?
Exactly.
That is so cool.
It's hard to get more patriotic than that. So
no.
And then we're opening on July 4th, 2026, so America's 250th birthday. We'll have a very special bottle to commemorate the America's 250th birthday. It's a 13-year bottle, so 13 for the 13 colonies, right?
Okay, yeah.
And a lot of symbology throughout, and I'm sure with the mash bill and whatnot, but that's a year away here, almost just a little under a year away, but I'm looking forward to having our own kitchen. Not having, right now we contract with Bardstown Bourbon Company, right? But having your own kitchen allows you to do other things.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds fun. So next year, July 4th is the grand opening.
Yeah, so that week leading up to July 4th, we'll have a bunch of events. The timeline and schedule has not been put out yet, but we'll have days set aside for the public. July 4th, obviously, that the public can come out there and for the grand opening. We'll have some days set aside for distributors. Where they're the focus, right? Okay. So that's a big part of our success is our distributors. You can't. All we can do is make it. We can't distribute or sell it, right? So,
right as of right now, yeah.
So distributors and some of the larger accounts, I hope, will have access to the distillery grounds on a somewhat private level to walk around and see what we have going on.
I can't wait to come see it because I'm gonna come see it.
Yeah, if you're ever there at Fort Knox, it's Somerset's kind of a far away, but I think it'd be well worth the drive. But
I go to Fort Knox pretty regular.
Right.
So hopefully I'll be able to make it. Orlando's in the back. Orlando, you got a question for Vince, buddy?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Don't know if you can answer this one or not, but prior to deploying to Afghanistan, did you and your other 11 people, did y'all already know how to ride, or did you have to train prior to going? Was that part of the plan, or can you say?
That was not part of the plan. So, like when 9/11 happened, right? We were ready to go on October or September 14th. It took us a while, but we were doing a lot of live fire ranges, all from foot patrols, right? Reactive contact, especially in mountainous terrain, differs from the woods, right? So just sharpening our SOPs. We had 2 guys that came back to the team that had been gone for a while, so we had to get them refreshed on SOPs. But I had ridden kind of growing up. I had ridden with the Border Patrol on the counter drug mission back in the mid 90s. Western style horses are much different. They're much more mild mannered. They're kind of trail broke, right? Nice leather saddles versus the Afghans use a bone saddle. But some of the guys had never ridden it in their life, and they were super nervous. The horses picked up on the nervousness, and it was just the first 4-hour rides for some of the guys was 4 hours of sheer on the job training. But, it was,
on the job training. That's a light way to put
you
it.
didn't know the horses as you rode them, and learning how to work the reins, and just being comfortable. That's the biggest thing. Just being comfortable on the back of a horse. You know, all the horses would try to bite you as you rode them. They would try to bite your toes. They would try to buck you off. Other horses would try to bite me if they got too close to me. So you always had to be very wary of your own horse and other horses around you. But it was kind of comical at times, for sure.
You were talking about the therapeutic part of horses.
Yeah.
My girlfriend, her granddaughter has autism, and that's one of the things they're getting ready to do. There's a therapeutic horse farm that they can take them to here locally, and she's going to start doing that.
Yeah, that's I can't say enough about that program. Horses are, like I said, horses. They can see inside of you, right? They can see that internal trauma, and they know what to do. They know how to react to that and make you feel comfortable, right? And that's something I hope in the long run that we can take part in. But that's a high order. We got to make bourbon first. We got to pay the bills. So
yeah, that's awesome. Great question, Orlando.
Thanks, Orlando.
I remember that was one of the things they showed in the movie was Michael Pena's character jumping on a horse and be like, I've never been on a horse before, and it being like this big stressful thing, and him and the horse not getting along at first. Yeah. And so little things like that, you letting us know that that's actually what happened. It's not just them making a Hollywood movie to make it entertaining. Like, that's stuff that actually happened. Is really, really cool to me, and I'm sure to a lot of people watching.
So Michael Pena played the intel sergeant, he's a senior E7 as an intel sergeant, and he's the assistant team sergeant. But his horse actually at one point just stopped in the trail and just laid down with him on it. Because I think he was pulling on the bite too much, which is painful for the horse.
Oh, okay.
The horse was like, F this, and just laid down.
Like, I'm out of here.
But even my horse, some of the higher elevations, the steeper terrain, my horse Rusty would just stop. And I could feel his heartbeat and his respiration to my knees.
Yeah.
And he was not going to go until he was rested. So I just sat there with him on my back. Some of the other Afghans fouled past me, giving me a smile. But when he was ready, he got going again. But
my wife grew up on horseback here in Oklahoma, and she had a horse that loved the water, so she had to be careful if she got anywhere near the water.
Right.
Because he just beeline right towards it.
Yeah, because
he would go and he would like flop in it.
Oh yeah. With
her on him, he'd just take a dive.
Yes, we got down to the lower terrain, the big valley called the Belk Valley. We had to do some river crossings, and the horses would do everything they could to drink as much water as they could, which is actually bad for them because they're heated up, they're under duress. Some of that water was pretty deep up to our knees. And my biggest worry was I didn't want to, of course you don't want to drown, but your horse losing his footing underneath you and going down river, right? But very fortunate in that way.
Yeah. Well, Orlando, you have very good chances of winning a flight of some pretty awesome horse soldier bottles. So I appreciate you coming on, my friend.
Appreciate you. Thank you, sir. And I'll be enjoying the rest of the show.
Roger that. Cheers,
Thanks,
buddy.
Orlando.
Joe, are you ready to jump on? I don't see Joe. Joe. I see Will. Will, you ready, buddy? All right. How you doing, Will?
I am doing fantastic. It's good to see you guys again. I was just cruising around Fort Campbell last weekend, but thank you for your service, both of you. My question is a little odd, but kind of going off a little bit where you've been tonight. So when you were deployed, doesn't matter which time, if it was multiple, is there a meal that you remember the most and why? Was it the people you were with, the location, or the food?
So the meal, that's an easy answer for me. So the meal I remember the most was Thanksgiving of 2001.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were still going through the effects of the weight loss. Mm-hmm. Right after that, it took us a while to gain that 25 pounds back. But the Army, the headquarters is called the CJ Sodif up in Uzbekistan. They actually put the military does the Thanksgiving dinner, right, with the turkeys and the mashed potatoes and everything, right? They go yams, all that stuff. They go full bore on that. And so what they did was they cooked it up in Mazar Sharif, put it in these little mermites. So there's these insulated metal cans. Yep. And then they put them into parachute bundles. And I remember the night before they dropped them by parachute to us. I remember it was a very chaotic drop zone because we had the Afghans had become used to use different drop zones because the Afghans, as soon as they started hearing aircraft, they'd come running. And we had about 24 chutes come out of this C-130. 3 of them were for us, and another team was our 4 of them was our turkey dinner and everything else, right? And they had some MWR items, some CD players and some CDs and Game Boys and stuff like that. But we did not bring enough guys because we were not prepared to have to recover 24 bundles. We were told it was like 8 bundles. So we were fighting with the Afghans to get our bundles back and get them in our pickup trucks. We had our Uzbeks out there to restore some order, but it was near riot conditions. And we got our bundles back to the team house. But that day we had, I'll never forget, the best Thanksgiving meal I ever had. Because it was my first real taste of American food since probably, because when we got to Uzbekistan, we were still eating MREs, and MREs can leave a lot to be desired, right?
Yep.
And it's just calories. I saw MREs as just calories. There's nothing really good about them, but I eat everything I can just to get those calories in.
Edible calories. Yep.
And so having that mess hall that got to Uzbekistan after we left, had already departed, having them make that Thanksgiving meal for us was phenomenal. It's something that I will never forget. And plus being there with the 11 other guys that we had just accomplished what we accomplished, and made it all better for us. And we all called our families for the first time. For most of us, called our families on the Iridium satellite phone that we had. And so it was a very good Thanksgiving, but very memorable.
That sounds like an amazing meal.
Yeah.
All right. Very, very cool question. Well, appreciate you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys.
I put you on the wheel. You and Orlando have excellent chances right now of winning some cool horse soldier flight.
Well, very good. I enjoyed the juice, and I'm looking forward to it. So,
all right. Cheers, Will. Independent Joe is in the house.
All right.
What is up? What is up? Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Vince.
Good to see you, Joe, again.
Good to see you, man.
Where did I meet you at? I met you somewhere, right?
What's that?
I met you at an event, I think, somewhere.
Yes, Nevada.
Nevada. Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
My memory is not the best these days.
I know. You meet a lot of people. It's all right.
Yeah.
Although I've heard I've had a distinguished looking face.
We do, yeah. You have a memorable beard. Was that during SHOT Show?
What's that?
Was that earlier this year during SHOT Show?
You had 2 releases of the hazmats. One.
Yeah.
Was that this year?
Yeah, that was this year. That was during SHOT Show, and then those 2 accounts bought 2 barrels, liquor lineup, and I think Curry's Fine Liquors. But Curry's had the 145 proof. I was able to get 1 bottle. I have not opened it yet, but I heard great things about it. And
I popped that one.
Oh yeah,
I popped them both. So
what'd you think?
Oh, loved it. Of course. I mean,
Yeah. I'm jonesing over those. You know, they stare at me and lure me in. But, I got to say those for the right occasion with the right people. We'll have to see. And but I have a lot of special bottles, so it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
I guess the only question I have is, so being in the military, it's a 2-part question. What have you learned about yourself from your time in service, and how did that transfer into what you're doing now?
Ooh.
I would say first and foremost, I think what's helped me out, other than just luck with not being hurt during the selection and all that stuff, right, during the training, but just like my dad, I'm super pragmatic, and that I think that helps build a lot of resilience.
Yeah.
So even I've been deployed 12 times, and I was able to understand that when I came back, like when we came back from Afghanistan the first time, it was very anticlimactic. We got a C-17 from Karachi Counterbad. I think we landed once in Germany, and then right there at Fort Campbell, the airfield. We got off, the group bus was there, the short bus. We got on it and went back to our team room, called our wives, and we were home within a matter of minutes. And I remember, I was like, all right, I'm back to suburban Vince. I got to cut the grass, and so
clean the gutters, go grocery shopping.
Right,
Days later, literally.
All the to-do lists that my wife had saved up for me.
Yeah.
And it just being able to understand that and have that pragmatic outlook that okay, this is where I'm at now. I'm not in the war zone anymore. Yeah. And I'm back home, and now I gotta put that face on and be that guy for my wife.
Yeah. And
I know a lot of guys had issues with that.
Yeah.
So for me, and then I went back. I did 12 deployments overall, and I was able to always come back. And when my time was done, it was done, and I was back
drop
home.
Your pack and leave it at work.
Right, exactly. Just put on that different face and understand. It's the biggest thing is understanding where I'm at, living in the moment. I'm not there no more. Leave that behind. I can't do anything about it, so don't worry about it, right? So,
yeah.
That and I'm patience, I guess. I learned that I have quite a bit of patience. And not so much anymore, but I try to develop that right. But working with the maturity and the patience when working with indigenous forces, like my first overseas deployment when I was in 5th group was Kuwait, working with some of the local Kuwaiti soldiers, which can really test your patience because those guys do not like to train. Yeah. They'll tell you right up first day that they are like lions of the desert and they can train all day, but by 10 a.m. that day they're like, oh, we're done. It's too hot for us. So So as an American, with the American work ethic, and you want to train, some of those guys put your patience to the test, and your temper sometimes. But I'm glad I was able to understand that I'm not there really to make them into me or an American, because they'll never be that, but make them, I guess, something better than they were on day one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe, I thought that was an excellent question. And one of the things you brought up, Vince, reminded me of a video I shared on one of our Veterans Whiskey live streams that I do on Saturday, first Saturday of the month, where there was a Vietnam veteran that he was talking almost like he was jealous of the World War II veterans, because when they were coming home from war, they were on a ship for like a month with their buddies, decompressing and talking about stuff, and really had a little bit more time to decompress and kind of vent about things that happened. And they had a solid month from getting shot at to being back home with the wife, talking about oven cleaner and stuff. But him as a Vietnam veteran was like, I came home on a chopper by myself just because my contract was up, and I came home alone. None of my friends came with me, and I came home. There was no thing for me or nothing. And so what you just described as you guys got on a bird, stopped, for probably refueling or jumping on a different plane or something in another country, and then jumping over to America and being home the next day. You're like, yep, 72 hours ago, I was literally getting shot at, and now I'm at home, and you're asking me what I want for breakfast. I'm just like, I do not know. Don't ask me questions. It's hard to switch gears with I'm making decisions on what is keeping me alive and what's keeping my friends alive and what's not, and making important decisions based on stuff like that, and dismissing all that other stuff that doesn't matter. Like, all that stuff doesn't matter. Okay, just give me something to eat. Let's go. It's hard to switch those gears.
Yeah.
I could tell you from experience that 30-day ride home on a boat isn't decompressing anything. You still deal with the same issues when you get back, and it isn't a time to reflect. That's the longest 30 days ever.
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, but yeah, it could also be your undoing as well, I guess, for some of the guys. But a lot of it goes back to, your outlook. Idealists, there's two kinds. There's pragmatics and idealists, right? Yeah. Idealists tend to have the much harder time reintegrating back into family life, coming back home.
Yeah,
I've noticed that quite a bit.
That makes sense.
That's what's so great about his monthly get-togethers is you can come to this type of format, pour yourself a glass, and kind of relate and talk to each other about stuff to me, this is where I'm decompressing on some of the stuff that I remember that maybe I don't want to remember and stuff, but it's good to talk to other people and relate to them in this environment without having to go out to a bar or anything like that and just hang out and just have a conversation. So appreciate your Saturdays once a month there.
Oh, thank you, brother. And I appreciate you being there.
I like to tell people that, so for thousands of years, soldiers have gone to war and died and been wounded and had to come back home, right? And we're just like that. And 1,000 years from now, it'll still be happening. But
for a lot of people, the fight never ends inside. So
yeah, I hear that.
Well, I appreciate you, Joe. If you want to keep hanging out in the backstage, we'll be on for a little bit. But I appreciate you coming on and asking a really good, solid question. Appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, I have my moments. Later,
buddy. Oh goodness. Vince, did you have anything that you wanted to jump on before we move to the next person that's in the backstage?
So real quick, I'll talk about our partnership with PBR Teams.
Oh, PBR Teams. Yes.
So Teams. So PBR Teams is not like the PBR Rodeo, owned by the same people, right?
Okay.
But it's a different format. They have, I believe, 8-man teams. They do. I was just there in Anaheim last week. So Friday. So the first 2 nights they do 50, what's called 50 matches or 50 games. So they do 50 rides. It keeps you interested because it's quick action. But it's very popular. They got teams from the Bronx, from Brooklyn, I think, all the way to, like I said, Anaheim and Phoenix. So it's a new format, but we are the official Brown Spirit sponsor for that. Pendleton is the official sponsor.
PBR Teams, this one?
Yes. So the Camping World PBR Teams. Camping World is the overall sponsor, and then we are the sponsor for the whiskey or the brown spirits.
Okay,
but
I kind of like how what is that? Woodford Reserve is the official Kentucky Derby whiskey.
Right.
You guys are the official whiskey of the PBR Teams and the horse derbies and stuff that they have going on in Anaheim.
Right, and then for PBR, so the main PBR rodeo, right? So the individual riders, that's sponsored by Pendleton, of course. So they own that sponsorship. Maybe 20 years from now, we'll have that. But for right now, we got the PBR Teams, which is growing. They have, I think, 12 teams, growing that to hopefully a couple teams per year. I think Missouri's actually got 2 teams, my home state of Missouri. So it's something cool to us, and it's done. And we've already seen an uptick in sales just from having that visibility.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
since that announcement was made, you guys have gained some popularity.
Right, and there's that commercial that gets played, depending on which network is sponsoring that individual city.
Yeah.
We have a Big Cowboy Award that we give out to a veteran who's done something noteworthy in the community. Sometimes those get aired on the local or the national broadcast as well.
Okay.
But Neil McDonough stars in our very first commercial, which is very cool, very well done.
That's very cool.
And so that and partnership with Tunnel to Towers, of course, is ongoing always. We try to push folks. Think about the 343 firefighters that lost their lives that morning of November 11th or September 11th, 24 years ago, right? Since that time, more than 343 firefighters have lost their lives due to the effects of being there, living in that dust for weeks on end, recovering human remains, and cancers, especially lung cancers, OCD, OPC, what it is. It's chronic lung disease, right? So
yeah,
those are things.
But they contracted it from being there at ground zero, trying to pull out remains.
All that dust and asbestos in the air that all did a number on the lungs. So we want to keep that alive and keep that a focus for charity efforts, because they do great work. They pay off mortgages. They send kids to university.
Yeah. All right. So you guys are now the official drink of PBR. The other thing that I had written down that I wanted to touch on is that if any of the moderators in the chat can drop the Facebook channel, they have a Facebook page where if you sign up, you can win a trip, right?
So there's a trip to 2 down to Vegas.
Okay.
For the PBR team's final.
Okay.
I'm not
so
sure
you can win a trip to the PBR team's final. That's awesome.
I think that's in December. I want to say could be sooner than that, but Mark Nooch will be there. along with Bob Pennington. So the two commanders from ODA 595, the warrant officer and the captain will be there at that rodeo as well.
That is really, really cool. I hope that I win that. That'd be really sweet to go there and see that rodeo and meet those two guys.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it get a whole lot of traction, to be honest. So it might not have many players. So the odds may be stacked in your favor.
Okay, I'm doing it.
But
I am definitely signing up for this win a trip. And let me bring on Bourbon. He's been sitting in the background for a little bit. What's up, Bourbon?
How's it going?
What's up, Ethan?
Bourbon.
What's going on? As kind of the representatives from New York, thank you.
Amen. Yeah.
You know, here's my little Tunnels to Towers. Since you were mentioning them, grab my coin from the Tunnels to Towers Foundation. Yeah, as somebody who's lost people both that day, friends have lost people, and even lost people since too. Just what you were just talking about, the 9/11. You know, thank you for all you've done. Drinking a little horse soldier right now. So I kind of have two questions, but I'll go with the non-whiskey one first. And that is, as a large gentleman who tends to go hot places when he shouldn't, how did you adjust to the temperatures over there and the environment, or anything you did to stay cooler over there? I mean, I know you had intensive training and such, but still, the body can only adjust so much.
I think just living in it, being 5th Special Forces Group, right? So our every group is geographically aligned. So our focus was CENTCOM, the stands down to the Horn of Africa, so the Middle East. So I spent a lot of time in Kuwait, Yemen, Kenya, Jordan. And I'll tell you, over anything else, is just staying hydrated. I remember in Iraq in the summer of 2003, we had some daytime raids, and we were pounding water and never pissing, right? So you're basically just maintaining your water levels. But we would take, there, it was a little more civilized in Iraq than Afghanistan, but we had refrigerators and freezers where we kept ice packs in. And we would actually put those between our body armor and our uniforms. So as we were out and about, it kept our bodies cool, especially on the back of the neck. If you keep the back of your neck warm or cool, that kind of regulates the rest of your body. It has a outsized effect on how you feel, I think. And vice versa. In the cold weather, you keep the back of your neck warm. It just makes you feel warmer. Even with exposed skin, right? So, but a lot of it's just sucking it up and dealing with it. So, that Iraq is 120 degrees daytime. There's not much you can do. It just sucks, and you deal with it. Drink shit tons of water, and watch each other.
Yeah, and you kind of understand partially why they're so angry if you had to live in that all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I would always have a bad attitude. I live in Seattle, so I like it here when it's cool, or just south of Seattle, but Western Washington. I'm not a big fan of. I was in Missouri earlier this summer, and I remember why I never want to live in Missouri again. 95%, 95 humidity, or 95 degrees.
Yep.
And not for me anymore. So.
Yeah, we have a very spoiling climate here in Washington. I was in Missouri earlier this year. But, what you were talking about, Bourbon, kind of to Vincent's point, a lot of it is a mental game, to where if you focus on it mentally, thinking about it, like, oh, this sucks, blah, 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 then it's just going to break you down even more and more. Just like you said, stay hydrated and don't let it kick your ass mentally. That's it.
Afghanistan was pretty, it was a high desert. So we had hot days, but it wasn't super hot. It was just, 90s in the day. And then nighttime was 40s and 30s maybe. But you just have to get used to it. And your focus is, to be honest, your focus is the enemy at that point. So it's very distracting, right? Your blood's flowing and your adrenaline's kicked up. So
yeah, I more meant the effects of the heat. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you were saying with the neck, that's huge.
yeah.
Just on the whiskey front, like talking about picks and anything else, I see irregular products on the East Coast, but I've never seen a special bottle. Never seen a pick out here. I've never seen like a D-Day or anything like that out this way.
On New York, okay. So like the D-Day and the 250th anniversary bottle, those are those I think were only sold in the military system.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have our Commander Select. Our Commander Select 6 was out last year.
Mm-hmm.
I still find some around Washington State here. So every state has its own allocation.
Interesting.
So it's just a matter of, I think New York, our distributor is Empire.
Oh God. Okay, that explains everything. You don't have to.
So if you know,
It won't. I would say it won't be for long because they are tanking hard.
Oh, yeah?
Oh yeah. They'll probably be acquired or out of business very soon.
Yeah. And we had RNDC in California just quit California.
Mm-hmm.
So
Empire here just lost Sazerac, Brown Forman, and rumors they're gonna lose Moet Hennessy also.
Wow.
Which is basically almost everything, right? Nowadays.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Is Sean in the background, Mark? Or did he pass out?
Sean was never in the background.
No. I know he had a question earlier, but I know he was zonking out. But
I let Sean know in the chat that we were going to get to that question in a minute, and we kind of already talked about it when Sean's question was about what's going on with the distillery in Somerset.
Well,
and Vince talked about that.
Oh yeah, but I more mean if somebody wanted to get involved with it who lived in that area.
Okay.
But that could be a offline after stream type thing. You can kick me off and get somebody else.
No, it's okay. Vince, do you have anything to say about that?
So if they live near Somerset, Somerset's a very cool little town there. I think it's a Pulaski County.
I've been there. I've hunted whiskey there. I've eaten there because our friend Sean that we're talking about right now lives in that area.
Okay.
And Somerset also got half destroyed in the last 6 months with the EF4 tornado that went through there also.
Yeah.
Hit your property at all?
Nope. We were very, very lucky with that. And that property overlooks the Cumberland River, Lake Cumberland area. So that's, for us, it's kind of cool because that's where our story starts on the morning of 9/11 is on that same river, much more downstream, of course, in Tennessee, Kentucky area. But Pulaski County has really laid out the red carpet for us, and their Chamber of Commerce. There's an agency that runs that whole Pulaski County business side of things, and they have really helped us out quite a bit and welcomed us in, helping some of the guys find houses. So it should be fairly easy to see the visibility, especially downtown. We have our restaurant, the Urban Still House, that's already open. That's Scott Neal, who is our president, who helped found Horse Soldier. He's moving there, so he'll be a regular presence. I think Mark Nooch may be living there half the year, so we'll have a presence downtown Somerset. And those guys are very extroverted, so they'll be out and about quite often, I'm sure.
That sounds like the area I need to move to in a few years.
Sean's within like 20 miles of there.
Yeah, I need to get out of Washington. All right, Bourbon, thanks for jumping on. Great questions. And hanging out if you want to.
Yep.
Cheers. So might be the last because we're coming up on, or we actually went over our time limit. But I've been from the north, raining in from Canada, staying up late with us. I wanted to give you a chance to ask Vince any question that you had, my good friend. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for your service again. Thank you for the surprise bottle a couple years ago with the signature. I really appreciate that.
Thanks,
It's
man.
probably my favorite bottle for the sentimental value of it. I guess my question was, is when you were in Afghanistan, how much contact did you have with other nations or Canada specifically?
So I work with what's called the CANSOF, so Canadian Special Operations Forces. I worked with them much later on in 2010, 11 in Kandahar. So we shared the same base. It's where Mullah Omar's compound used to be in Kandahar area of Afghanistan. So they did operations out of there. We were with the Brits a little bit, but more with the CANSOF, the Canadians. And then I think they were drawn down by the late 2011, 12 timeframe. I think they all departed Afghanistan, I think. But good guys. I mean, they were
14 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. They're all pipe hitters. They want to get after it. So very, very capable, of course. Much easier when you speak the same language, and cultural differences aren't that much. Soldiers are soldiers, right? And they care about eating and having fun and getting after it, right? So,
yeah.
But not much other than the Afghans. I got to work with some of the Polish Grom later on in Iraq, but that's probably the
Okay.
other.
I was really excited and very happy that you guys got connected with the Rodeo Foundation or the
Right.
organization, and that the actor got on board with you guys. I was very happy to see that commercial.
Yeah, I think they did a good job. I wish we could have been in it, but we're not.
Yeah.
But I think they did a very good job overall, hitting on the theme or the feeling of Horse Soldier Bourbon and service, right?
Yeah. And the actor Neil McDonald, he's known as a man of high moral standards.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great representation.
What it really looks like, even if they might not know his name. So
right.
Yeah.
The next thing is this: are you guys in all 50 states?
We are in all 50 states as of this year.
Excellent.
So
I'm very happy to hear that.
I'm actually going up to Alaska here first week of October.
Nice. So I think the first time you were on, last time you were here, I think there was 10 or 12 states or something that you guys couldn't ship to, right?
Right.
And now you're in all 50?
We are in all 50 states. As of early this year, distribution takes time, of course. But
yeah.
That's good.
And then the military, of course. So like last October, I got to go to Korea, Okinawa, Japan. Spent 2 weeks with the wife and working for Horse Soldier, but pushing Horse Soldier within the military channels.
Good.
Yeah, so it was very cool to get back over there. I'd been stationed in Korea back in the 80s. And so much has changed since then.
Not much has, or a lot has?
A lot has changed in Korea. So,
you've been to Alaska before?
Other than the cruise, Juneau, but I've never been to Anchorage, so this has been my first trip to Anchorage.
Yeah, I was up there in June of 2008, and I really like Juneau and Ketchikan.
Yeah, I got to walk around Ketchikan for a little while, but yeah, never Anchorage, so I'm looking forward to that. That's a big city, right? So, that's going to be civilian and military channels. I'm working there, so I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you for your time, and it was an honor to get to speak to you again.
All right, thank you, Ben.
Yeah, appreciate you jumping on, Ben from the north. Always good to see you, buddy.
Always.
Yep, cheers. All right, Vince, we went a little bit past our time. I wanted to make sure I didn't keep you up too late. So the guys that jumped on, I'm gonna send each one of you guys a flight because I greatly appreciate each one of you guys. I don't know how I'm gonna sneak a little bit more Horse Soldier up to Bourbon in Canada, but we'll figure something out. The other guys that jumped on, I'm going to easily send you guys a flight. I just appreciate you guys being here. Vince, was there anything that we did not hit on tonight that you want to hit on before we cut off the live stream?
Nope. I'd say just follow us on Instagram and the Facebook, and then pay a visit to our website every now and then, horsesoldierbourbon.com, and get the latest updates, because as the timeline comes out for our distillery opening, we'll have a much tighter timeline, and people can start planning to make trips out there. So I hope to see a lot of folks out there in Somerset on our grand opening. It's going to be knowing John Coco and Scott Neal. It's going to be a party of the century for sure.
Awesome. All the links you just talked about, your Instagram, your website, all those links are in the video description already. So you can click on that and you can follow them for free. I don't know how that limited time offer, how long that's going to last to follow them on Instagram and Facebook, but it's free as of right now. Vince, thank you again for being here for part 2. Horse Soldier Bourbon, definitely one of my favorite veteran-owned whiskeys by far. And I just appreciate you being here. So I'm going to give you the floor for a minute. Any of you guys watching the live, you want to jump in the backstage for a little bit, feel free to click on the join link, and you don't have to come on stage. But Vince, anything you want to close out with? Give you the floor.
Nope. Just remember the service members out there that are hurting, and think about those guys, not just service members, but the first responders from 9/11, especially in New York City. Those guys are still hurting, and gals, a lot of gals, feeling the effects from 9/11. I know it was 24 years ago, and let's make sure that we keep that memory alive well into the future of their sacrifices, because those men and women are our heroes that responded going into the unknown on the morning of 9/11. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Vince, for coming on the 24th anniversary of September 11th, Patriot Day. Like I said, I couldn't think of a better, more suitable guest to have on the show. And just thank you again for coming back for round 2. And next year, hopefully we can do a round 3 once the distillery is up and operating.
Yeah, next year is going to be the 25th, so that's going to be a big.
Oh yeah, big deal.
Big anniversary. I think our 25th, our 20th anniversary of Horse Soldier or the Commander Select was huge. Yeah. I'm sure next year will be the same thing.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. All right, all you guys watching us live or on the replay, thank you for sticking through this long. And remember to take care of you and yours. Drink more water than you're drinking whiskey, and be a good influence on those within your sphere of influence. Cheers.